Good morning, Kevin Cage back with another XRP cryptocurrency update. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you're serious about the digital asset space, and let's get right into it today. Again, pause this video right now if you've not seen my previous two uploads from yesterday. They are absolute must-sees talking about Finastra, specifically one of the leading fintech technology providers in the world, being partnered with the new platform of Global Pay Plus. We can tie it directly in with the RTP real-time payment platforms we are seeing globally to encourage, domestic utility and faster payments. We can tie it into everything, specifically to the DTCC, to the former, board members of Ripple. We can talk about the transaction volume, talking about how CLS already has 50% of the FX settlement in the world. This is trillions of dollars per day being settled. Do you understand if XRP even gets 1%, but it's looking like it will get a lot more based off of what I've been seeing the past 3 years. Okay, so to kick things off, this is on Ledger Exposed. This is the rich list stats. If you want to find this, you can just type in, XRP rich list. Should be the first site to come up. Now we can see XRP owned by the top 100 accounts. This is 35.7 billion XRP are already owned and being held by various wallets, okay? These accounts, I'm guessing the majority of them are not just being traded by whales. Of course, there are whales in every ecosystem, and manipulation does occur, whether it's the metals market or the stock market. But I want to emphasize is that, so the supply, we say, 50 billion is in escrow, locked up, can't do anything with it, it's not circulating. Therefore, we see 35.7 billion, therefore, is being held by the top 100 accounts. Now, when we go to CoinMarketCap, we can see XRP, circulating supply, 44 billion. If you take this 44 billion, 73 million, in this exact number, and subtract it from the XRP owned by the top accounts of 35.7 billion, this remains, and what's remaining is 8.3 billion XRP in total. So this is actually what is remaining in true circulation. Do you see how we got that number? Now, there's other estimates and math done by other professionals that basically say that the true circulating supply of XRP could be anywhere from, 2 to 5 billion XRP. Do you realize the multiplier effects this would have? What happens is this reduces the amount of supply, creating scarcity. When there is demand, we are only at 8.2 billion in market cap valuation based off these metrics. There's various ways, but this is the most popular way to look at it right now. Do you understand what could happen? David Schwartz emphasizes, and he said, for cross-border payments, $120 per XRP. Well, that was with, I'm guessing, maybe 50 billion or 100 billion in circulation. What happens when this is reduced? And he said, yes, you can apply a multiplier effect to this. Do you realize the reduction there? Okay, so if there's only 5 billion circulating supply, 100 divided by 5 is 20x multiplier effect. Do you see how we are getting very bullish numbers, let alone $120 by David Schwartz, CTO and one of the chief architects of the XRP ledger, estimated that with transaction volume truly settling after regulations, everything is truly going and operating on the XRP ledger. This is talking about cross-border payments. Of course, that is one of the key areas they're tackling. This isn't talking about micropayments, which he has said that this could be bigger than cross-border payments, the actual streaming of payments, okay, with batch payments, etc. It's not talking about collateralizing and tokenizing assets on the XRP ledger itself and issuing IOUs. It's not talking about the derivatives market, which is anywhere well over 500 plus trillion to 1 quadrillion on the high end, or the securities market, which is another multi-trillion-dollar market, which Ripple and Coinbase and other groups have invested into Securitized to do that and issue securities. It's not talking about building, stock markets on top of the ledger. It's not talking about decentralized finance with the Logos acquisition. Do you see how deep this rabbit hole could really get? So when you tell me that XRP will never surpass $1, I am just laughing to myself. I will not answer those comments on YouTube. I will not answer and engage in an argument on Twitter because I understand what I am invested in. I will continue to do this and produce these this content. If you guys think I'm doing it for the money, you are wrong. YouTube, they reduced revenue by 50% during this crisis. I'm not doing it for the money. This is minuscule to me. This is a side hobby that I'm passionate about, and I want to grow this channel because I truly enjoy doing this. I feel like I'm, giving back in a way. So I just wanted to share that. Now let's talk about the Interledger protocol. All right, so let's talk about this really quick. I just wanted to share this and give proper credit. So this is actually shared by Predator02 on Twitter. I see John Wick, one of my buddies here commenting there. And what was this? So essentially it says the FSB, this is the Financial Stability Board, just as April 2020. So the Financial Stability Board reports on its work to develop a roadmap to enhance global cross-border payments. This liquidity crisis occurring in the pandemic, my heart goes to everybody out there that is affected in any way. All I'm saying is that this is definitely the jump in the reason in the narrative to implement and update what is occurring here with cross-border and international payments. The friction is there. So essentially they have stage 1 reports, stage 2, and stage 3 roadmaps and plans, and they're submitting it to the G20 leaders and finance ministers, as we can see, and central bank governors for their virtual meeting next week. You can see the technical background report if we want to just take a quick peek. So what I like to do with this, let me scroll all the way up really quick. What I like to do with these websites, and this is a 34-page PDF here, this technical background report, I'll literally just type in keywords. So, I mean, we can kind of just go interoperability. And so we can see lack of interoperability systems is a factor. You can see that, right? And this is all talking about payment processing, right? Interoperability challenges. We can see technical standards for protocols, which is going to go hand in hand with the Interledger protocol today. E.g., or for example, the ISO 20022 migration, which is a messaging standard for payments that will be implemented across the globe. Awesome. Okay, we're seeing, different questions being addressed, the FX conversion rates, things of these issues that really take a lot of time. And what happens is it's taking so much time. This might be a little side thing, but sometimes it can take so much time to get an FX quote that by the time you're ready to approve it, the rate already changes. But with RippleNet in true bidirectional messaging in real time, you can actually get these quotes quickly. Maybe it takes 2 minutes to decide and manually type in what you want to do, but then you're just at the click of a button. XRP settles in 3 to 5 seconds. Maybe the domestic exchanges and FIs take 2 to 5 minutes to really go through the whole process. But do you realize that 2 to 5 minutes, 3 to 5 seconds versus 2 to 6 days and losing your funds 6% of the time? And pre-funded accounts that are worth trillions, whether 5 trillion, 9.6 trillion, or 27 trillion is the highest estimate I've seen. This is why I'm bullish. These are the protocols I'm investing in. There's going to be multiple winners, but I'm just telling you, XRP has the longest track record, the biggest foundation, clearly being suppressed to some degree by, I don't know who, whales manipulation, it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is the upside will be explosive when the time comes, whether it's slow and steady. Groups and banks will catch on and want to custody it more. I'm going to talk about this more in future videos. All right, so we can go through interoperability, looking at that same narrative. We can, look at ledger and look at those keywords, ledger arrangements, distributed ledger technology, peer-to-peer transactions electronically, holdings are recorded. You can do permissioned or permissionless blockchains, which can also communicate together via Interledger. We see crypto assets right here, stable coins and initiatives. This is all being tested. Where was this, years ago? I know many of you have come in 2017. Some people were here during the first bull run, and then some people came on during the second bull run. This market is designed to tire you out and make you want to give up and make you question it and go, you know what, maybe this is just some crazy Ponzi scheme. Maybe this is too good to be true. Maybe I'll just go invest in the stock market again. Maybe I'll go into gold. Maybe I'll go into some random micro cap altcoin because it went up 300%. And what I'm saying is buy low, sell high. This is designed, XRP is one of the most boring projects, at least in terms of price action, to watch because it's designed psychologically to wear you out. The people that remain or have been here for multiple years are hard-headed, strong. They're either going to be considered idiots in the future or absolute geniuses. And the sad part is they'll probably consider a lot of us lucky, which I know will not be the case, and I'll vouch for that as well. Okay, so let's talk about ILP today. So right here, this is I Am Legion, guys. I will link this in the top of this video description. Must see this gentleman here on Coil, again, the streaming platform to get paid for your services. You can actually stream XRP via using Coil, which is something I do as well. So I am paying, I believe he has this for being paid. Hopefully he's being rewarded for this. If not, please do not send me any tips when I cover his content. Send I Am Legion a tip via Twitter, of course. All right, and the instructions are also in this video description. All right, so the archives, part 16, the Interledger protocol. Now, guys, stick around. This is all very relevant, and this is only the tip of the iceberg for what is really going on. right? Remember, for the future of Internet of Value, Interledger is a protocol. Then we need an actual ledger. So the Interledger bridges these ledgers. The ledger would be XRP ledger, hypothetically, and then the asset is still needed, and it could be XRP in this case. Ripple and Interledger were built together. ILP, XRP, the secret sauce, and this is what they've been referred to as by some of the founders, the secret sauce for success. So, Interledger is an open protocol suite for sending payments across different ledgers, right? Sending different payments across different ledgers. Like the internet, connectors route these packets of money instead of information. It's packets of value of money across independent networks. The open architecture and minimal protocol enable interoperability for any value transfer. That is the issue today. That's very clunky. There's different messaging standards. They're not all connected well, and it can take a lot of time. So Interledger is not tied to a single company, blockchain, or currency. So they're not always going to be written with, Ethereum Alliance or with Ripple or with R3 all the time. They're not tied with anyone. This is open sourced. Anybody and anyone can build on this protocol. As we can see here, Interledger protocol. So the few key facts: open protocol, open source, just as I've said. Next up, W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium, was actually gifted ILP, the community group. 220 plus contributors that include banks, central banks, payment companies, tech giants, consulting companies, and blockchain companies. We can see the internet architecture of, the Internet of Information and Data. We have the application layer, transport, internet, and network. So internetwork, okay? So IP, the IP protocols, information packets. Okay. Now the Interledger architecture, we can see the application layer. Now the Interledger, and then the ledger itself, whether it's, messaging ISO or even a Bitcoin or Ethereum ledger, for example. Adoption strategy, we can see digital assets listed, XRP and Ethereum right there. Of course, this includes micropayments and web payments. We already know, ILP is also connected, for Chrome. We can do instant payments. Of course, we've seen news with, Firefox, Safari, things like this. There's plugins. I mean, even PayPal is a fintech provider, has an ILP plugin. You can just go right to GitHub and see this. All right, central banks, Bank of England, for example, Mark Carney. We've heard his view on Bitcoin and looking at true technology solving issues for payments. We got mobile money, Mojo Loop. We'll talk about that. Again, Moja means one. In Swahili, they are bridging these mobile networks throughout Africa for the unbanked. Massive populations, massive opportunities to truly change the world. And then banks, or, as an example, Ripple, which is connecting them. So let's see, stages of the protocol. We can see experiment by Ripple Research in 2014, ILP implementation. You can see various, updates, talking about Codius becoming the first live ILP app. Adoption, we see first fiat ILP connections are launched. 2020, number of use cases grow. 2030, maturity. Now, this is not, for XRP per se. This is for the Interledger protocol and bridging these networks as we come into the maturity of the Internet of Value. Now, something interesting to note, 2025 to 2030 will be the times when capital markets and trade finance, where, this is the trillions. This will dwarf cross-border payments. This is where the big money comes in. Do I think I'm going to make a lot of money beforehand? Absolutely. I'm just saying, I don't think I'll ever really sell out per se. If you think you're taking profit, yeah, but if you're looking to cash out entirely into cash, which I'm not a big fan of as fiat as an asset, I think you're missing the point. So Hyperledger Quilt, get the code. So you can see this type, it's a tool. It's a business blockchain tool in one of the Hyperledger projects hosted by the Linux Foundation. Many are familiar with them. And Quilt offers interoperability between ledger systems by implementing the Interledger protocol, also known as ILP. Who will work on Quilt? So this is another, platform built on ILP. So we got Everest, NTT Data, and Ripple, the company, are committing full-time engineering resources. The main contributors include, and I'm sorry if I butchered these names, Takahiro Inaba from NTT Data. We got Adrian Hope Bailey from Ripple, and then Isaac, I'm not even going to try it, from Everest, which is an NTT Data company. We move further down here, Quilt's Java implementation, and then Bank's adoption of real-time settlements. We've seen this a million times, I know. You can, ask people around. I've shared it in multiple videos and even the links. But essentially, right here, Ripple Solution payment software that, integrates banks to settle funds in real time. So we can see Interledger protocol right here. We have the local payment networks and the real-time gross settlement systems of each country, Japan, European Union, United States, UK, China, you name it. And then they connect to via Interledger protocol. and go right to the central banks and the correspondent banking networks, and the LPs are the liquidity providers. We can see Ripple highlighted here. 50 Japanese banks are currently integrating RippleNet. This is made in 2017. We are a lot further along and people don't realize it. It's my belief XRP will be used as one of the foundational protocols, or at least digital assets of a bridge asset, and no one is going to realize it. One day you're going to either wake up to a high price or you're going to see it going up slow and steadily in due time. But again, I think they got to tire some people out more, and they're kind of waiting for the narrative to truly, flip the switch, whether it's slow and steady or not. We're waiting for regulations. We're waiting for custody solutions to be in play so that banks, hedge funds can actually secure these digital assets if they decide to hold them as an investment asset. All right, banks accelerate RippleNet adoption. We can see, and then look here. It says financial institutions will start using the XRP ledger for liquidity provisioning and cross-currency global real-time gross settlement. Do you understand the benefits that the XRP ledger has? It even has a built-in decentralized exchange. You can issue IOUs and tokenized assets on them. You can, go directly. You can, actually escrow XRP to tokenize an asset on top of it, which further reduces the supply. And that's my belief that some of this, 35 billion or even the XRP in escrow, if it's pre-allocated, can be locked up to issue tokens on the ledger. All right, we're still going. Local payments. Now it's showing real-time gross settlement in 2020. So now we actually see that it's all going over. ILP connects it all to the XRP ledger, right? Enabling banks to settle cross-currency transactions in real time. Something impossible today can be accessed by all banks and liquidity providers. So whenever you see LPs, just assume liquidity providers. CBs typically are central banks, or you can say, in this case, correspondent banks, referring to the correspondent banking network. Okay. And then in this original document, instead of ILP here, it shows CLS, which we've talked about, continuous link settlements. All right, Swift is only messaging. I don't care about Swift. To me, they're not even a competitor. It doesn't matter. Maybe they're a competitor with their GPI product Xcurrent, but that is it. I just feel like people argue the most pointless things because they don't understand. But ILP is going to enable financial institutions and central banks to make existing infrastructure and processes interoperable. We don't have to refresh the entire fintech space. All right, how value is transferred. It's just an update. All right, asset classes and the XRP ledger, global liquidity marketplace, and look at this, global decentralized real-time gross settlement. Do you see these documents? And this is made by Everest, an NTT data company. They range from, either the fourth or, top 6 biggest IT firms in the world. Many people have covered this. All right, Love for Crypto founded originally, I believe, in 2017. DAI has been covering it extensively, which is awesome. Crypto Addy, you name it, everyone, Jungle Link, you name it. Every single person has been covering this, and I'm grateful for this information. So we can see the Interledger protocol. We can see, of course, we've already shared this with this whole stack showing this, and then the value. There's various companies down here. I mean, we even see, Bitcoin. We see Hyperledger. We see Corda. We see Ripple, Mastercard, SEPA, right? Now, Hyperledger, we can see the foundation members. And remember, this is all on the Interledger protocol. NTT Data, IBM, R3, DTCC know their connection to Ripple directly as well. These people, if you invest in people, you have to realize how tightly connected they really are. Right? There's not going to be information out in the open saying, oh, the DTCC will use XRP. It'll talk about, DLT and integrations and maybe using, Finastra, which uses Global Pay Plus, and then Global Pay Plus and that payment platform is actually integrated with Ripple, since Finastra and D&H are partners with Ripple. They're indirect connections. And people say you're not connecting too much, you're grasping at straws. Perhaps. But I'm willing to risk it for this type of upside. So CME Group, we got Miguel Valles, of course, left and is working for Ripple. BNY Mellon, other people, it's reminding me of Matthew Mellon as well, that gentleman. American Express, a lot of these are Ripple, RippleNet partners. Deutsche, one of the biggest groups in the world. Just, do you see what is happening in front of you? JP Morgan, we got Wells Fargo, again, RTP, all these banks as well. All right, you can see this going from the Internet of Information. If you want to pause this, I've shared this a million times. I'm going to respect your time. Talking about SPI, Ripple Asia, keeps going. And then I do like this little infographic. Ripple can build a hybrid type remittance system that combines Interledger protocol and the XRP ledger. So financial institution A, we have financial institution B here. Now, as we can see, these banks, Bank A, B, and C in Japan, are all connected via the Interledger protocol. And now to transfer value, it says XRP can be used as a bridge currency for overseas remittance, eliminating the need to possess a large number of currencies. So instead of holding 100 different currencies and it's valued at, $1 billion, why don't you hold, $50 million of XRP? You're saving money. You're sending it instantaneously. All right, next up, Bank of England, FinTech Accelerator proof of concept with Ripple synchronized settlement of payments using ILP. There's other projects as well we'll talk about that are using Interledger protocol. And remember, the founders of Ripple, this is all about expanding the XRP ecosystem, getting groups to do this themselves so Ripple can focus on removing the friction of payments cross-border and connect to the banks. It's my belief that they're actually, more and more banks than we know are already on RippleNet. Now, it does not mean they're using XRP right now. What I'm saying is they have the ability to do so when and if the time comes. None of this is financial advice. Continue to do your own research. I'm just showing a lot of compelling evidence. Talking about real-time gross settlement, UK's real-time gross settlement, even tie it back to like Chaps Network, Chinese with the SIPs, I believe, things of that nature. Now look at this. This is Project Stella. I believe it's Stella, Stella. So again, between the European Central Bank and the Bank of Japan, synchronized payments cross-border June 2019. This is actually talking about using distributed ledger technology. And check this out. Right here. Experiment without Interledger protocol or experiment with Interledger protocol. Cross-currency platforms, payment channels, on-ledger escrow, things of this nature, guys. These are the narratives. This is what is being tested between central banks. They're not going to put it out in the open. Even Ripple being a private company, they don't owe us anything. They don't have to tell us a single thing. XRP is open source though, so we are allowed to own it. And I hope to get a slice of the pie. So right here, Ripple success. And now we're talking about Kava Labs. This is a testnet that is live. This was 10 months ago. Well, actually, I want to know the exact date. Doesn't matter. But again, Coil, which we're on Coil's website right now, reading this blog by I Am Legion, invests $30 million into Imager. Remember Stephen Thomas talking about this? Ripple is known as a blockchain international company, for payment settlements. They use blockchain infrastructure. And then again, talks about the partnership, displaying blockchain startups. And then Imager, for instance, has received $20 million as venture equity from Coil. Now, Kava Labs, we can see in a similar fashion, Cosmos and their software development kit, SDK. Behind the Cosmos Hub, another project that David Schwartz likes is, I believe, Atom, ATOM. Go ahead and check that out. Just do your own research. I'm not telling you to buy anything. Now, as an illustration, Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, DEX, is built on the Cosmos framework as well. Cosmos, though, was initially designed for assets like Bitcoin. And I'm actually going to make sure that this Cosmos is the same one they're talking about with Atom, though. So again, I have to look into that because I'm always learning too. All right, Kava Labs, specification for XRP. And again, Kava provides DeFi, decentralized finance applications with the interoperable functionality and benefits of Cosmos. So right here, we'll support digital assets as Atom. So yes, it is related. XRP and Bitcoin. All assets supported can be used as collateral. So right here, by bringing XRP to Cosmos through Kava, DeFi services will come to the Ripple token. And keep in mind, sometimes they use XRP, they call it Ripple. It's all interchangeable. I know it can be very confusing, but I urge you guys, if you're new here, I know a lot of you are, veterans at this point, because I know I have, the same people seeing this content every single day and even helping me learn. But if you're new here, I just encourage you to stick around. Be sure to do your own research. You don't have to watch videos every day. I'm just saying, I encourage you to do your own research because it takes a long time. I remember looking back at some of my original research and not understanding anything about liquidity providers. And then some days, like the gears just start turning and it all clicks. You understand order books, spread, tokenization, the benefits. So really recommend that. So right here, Kava's partners, Ripple. We got Binance, some of the biggest exchanges, Arrington, XRP Capital, Michael Arrington. I know I've seen some of these groups. Let's see, Huobi, Stake With Us. I've seen Digital Asset Fund for sure. Of course, Coil. I've seen Chainlayer around a lot. And then I've seen this group as well, Hash Quark. I've never actually said it. But now Ripple in a buying frenzy. Spring takes over Strata Labs. This is another acquisition with Spring, guys. Ripple's venture capital firm Spring has announced the acquisition of Strata Labs. Now, Strata Labs is another strategy that will develop and deploy an infrastructure that increases the adoption and deployment of XRP. It's all about XRP global takeover on the back end, and it is happening quietly. Right. And then, of course, this talking about the Vega protocol itself. The derivatives market is a huge trading place where many companies see great profit for opportunities. By investing in the Vega protocol, Ripple ensures that XRP is also used on this venue. I mean, the writing is just on the wall, even talking about Sologenic. I'm a little indifferent about Sologenic. I have to learn a little bit more about them. But again, use cases nonetheless. Now, will it drive price? This specifically, I have to do my own research into this. I've seen conflicting points of view. That's not to spread FUD by any means. I just wanted to kind of be realistic and let you know I have to look into this. So again, tokenizing shares and ETFs from more than 25 global exchanges that can be traded via XRP and Solo, which is their native token. I think it's better for them to profit off Solo. I really wish they utilized XRP, but oh well. So Forte, again, another gaming organization. Ripple partnership work to integrate blockchain technology with gaming. So keep in mind, this is all via Spring, guys, with the XRP ecosystem and propelling them forward. Forte is a San Francisco-based company, passionately working for the application of blockchain technology in the world of gaming. So they're working with other cryptos, but specifically, since Spring's invested and partnered with them, hundreds of millions are working to develop the XRP ecosystem here. Forte used the Interledger protocol, smooth running overall system. All right, Spring, Forte makes it easier for game developers to use blockchain. Just think, for example, if your kids or you guys are familiar with like that video game Fortnite, and they have that currency called V-Bucks, things of that nature, or you can buy skins or buy weapons in a video game or trade and have an eBay for different types of gaming capabilities and updates. It's like that. This is going to be the future economy, and gaming is going to be absolutely massive. All right. Just like, people used to, more and more people are starting to stop, they're stopping to watch sports. They're actually watching, live streamers playing video games. They're watching competitions. Some people are even watching computers face themselves in video games. I know it sounds crazy, and everything is crazy until it isn't. Ripple Spring looks to build XRP DeFi. This is the big one I wanted to talk about. September 2019. This is another thing why I'm extremely bullish in decentralized finance. Keep in mind, this is David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple. They've emphasized time and time again that Ripple will focus on cross-border payments exclusively, and they will not focus on other venues until they have this on lock. So why are they spending hundreds of millions to incentivize Spring with a $500 million investment to grow in terms of micropayment with, Coil is another group, of course, but even micropayments, gaming, music, art, tokenization of other assets, stock market asset, everything named on top of the XRP ledger and running with them in tandem with the Interledger protocol. That's all I'm saying. Decentralized finance is a behemoth. Collateralized debt positions will be massive. Decentralized finance. Remember, we already read that in the NTT data chart above, talking about a decentralized, real-time, gross settlement platform between all of the world banks and central banks. So right here, this is an acquisition of this platform, Logos Network. And again, Spring will add 9 New York-based engineers. The founder says he'll actually become Spring's head of DeFi products. So Spring did not disclose the price of the deal, none of our business. And they're building a payments network inspired by the Bitcoin blockchain with the focus on a scalable, rapid network that still maintains high levels of security. Again, Logos acqui-hires will now help Ripple build XRP derivatives, loans, futures, forwards, swaps, these options products, says Ethan Beard, Senior VP of Spring. We're still at the early stage of figuring this out, and this was September 2019. They've also made investments in DeFi companies in the past. We've invested into Securitize, which I've talked about. So has Coinbase and a lot of groups. Look at Securitize Connection. I'm also bullish in XTZ or Tezos. Keep an eye on them. Now, there's no perfect organization. There's no perfect solution, but I'm looking at the ones that have the most backing and actually still solve the problem today. So part of Spring's focus, use cases outside of RippleNet. Of course, so far the company's committed $500 million to 20 companies, including both equity investments and XRP grants to these groups. Just like this $265 million deal brokered with the content platform Coil that we are here. Spring now has a team of 32 employees, as they talk about here, XRP-based DeFi products. And of course, RippleNet's focusing on achieving real-time payments, real-time fiat settlements, even with XRP-based DeFi products. Do you see why I am so bullish with this? This is such a phenomenal article by I Am Legion. Thank you, sir. This is amazing. Interledger protocol has a YouTube as well if you guys want to learn more about it. Some long videos here to kind of see the PowerPoints, presentations, and talks at these summits. Now, look at this. We're almost done. The Gates Foundation launches Mojo Loop. Remember, one loop, Mojo Swahili. The Interledger protocol, developed by Ripple, promotes financial inclusion areas across Africa. It gets deeper. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, actually in partnership with Ripple, the company, and other partners, have launched Mojo Loop. This is an Interledger protocol intended to enhance financial inclusion via Africa. Open sourced, decentralized payment platform powered by the Ripple blockchain, and it's designed to simplify and reduce the costs of developing inclusive payment platforms. Excuse me, by enabling individuals' digital wallet to connect their respective bank account. Remember, more and more banks, of course, you're going to get notifications about digital wallets as well. It is simply a matter of time. Right? USD will also go more digital. I don't think it's going to be replaced by some random cryptocurrency we know of today. Most likely just some version of a digital US dollar, USDC, like USD coin, or, some version that is, uses cryptography, can scale, and is just real time. All right. I don't even think that's, conspiratorial by any means. I think that's simply happening. We're going towards more of a cashless society. Will it be immediate? Probably not. I mean, it could take decades, but I'm just saying that we're going to see a digital version of the USD, whether it's by end of year or, in the next few years. All right. The brains behind Mojo Loop include these groups: Ripple, Dwala, Crosslink Tech. And again, just talking about including ILP, a solution to settle funds between different providers, especially the mobile providers and networks in Africa. I've done a lot of reading about them. And each, nation and each area has a different organization, and they're just not interoperable. There's no communication in standard, so there's a lot of friction. So just as the internet revolutionized digital communication, open source solutions like Mojo Loop can spark innovation and democratize access to digital payments, empowering billions of new customers and driving massive economic growth in developing markets. And this is at the Gates Foundation by Costa Peric, all right, Deputy Director. All right, and then right here, we can see telecommunication standardization sector focus group on digital currency, including digital fiat currency. This was New York City, July 2018. We can scroll down. And as we see right here, the central ledger is based on the Interledger protocol to provide the following features. Right, conditional payments, cryptographically strong, just like atomic swaps with, Xcurrent. All right, or, RippleNet as a whole, messaging between direct scheme participants in the central ledger, and then Interledger addressing enabling inter-scheme and over-the-top internet payments. Guys, this is an amazingly written article and, just a bunch of great helpful screenshots. And again, this is by I Am Legion. I will be posting this in the top of the video description. Please go give it a read. He has plenty of other articles. I highly, highly recommend it. And please use this to do your own research. Do not use this to just go buy in FOMO, fear of missing out, and buy into the market. I encourage you to think for yourselves. So again, guys, shout out to Jamie XRP, Mikey, Crypto Beginner, Philip, and all other top channel members. I appreciate all of you that hit the like button, share this video around. Also, Crypto Beginner, one of my top channel supporters, recently put together a computer system in order to create a Ripple node and also contribute to the system. His website is crypto-beginner.com. So crypto-beginner.com. And again, he's hoping to grow this site as a place where individuals can learn more about cryptocurrency, XRP. Go check it out. Show him some support. So with that, guys, until next time.